What's up, guys? This is Dave Williams with Black Coyote Outdoors. I was recently given a challenge by Bill Reese over at Instinct Survivalist to answer 8 bushcraft related questions. The first question is, what is my most memorable camping trip? There's a lot. I can't really narrow it down to maybe 2, maybe at the most. But the most memorable one I'd have to say is the one that me and my buddies took. We went downriver for 3 days, and we ended up making a mistake and thinking that the river was high enough. Anyways, long story short, we ended up getting stranded on the river for a good little while, and ended up having to be rescued by our friends or whatever. But it wasn't too bad. But my buddies, they decided they were going to bring an alcoholic beverage more than the necessary water and stuff like that. So I ended up having to share my water with them, and I ended up actually having to boil water out of the river to help sustain us or whatever. And it was a memorable trip. It wasn't a great trip, but it was a memorable trip. We learned from it. I put my survival gear to use. I mean, we weren't gonna die. We had cell phone service. We could have called somebody. We could have, but we did have to trespass on property to be able to get off the river. And this was dead summer. I mean, I got sunburnt so bad. I mean, it was terrible. Like I had to say, it's not the greatest memory in the world, but we did experience some fun times. We caught a lot of great fish on the river that weekend, and it was memorable in some ways, good in some ways bad. But that had to be like the top memorable. It's not my top favorite, but it's my top memorable camping trip. So the second question is, do I like solo or group camping? That's kind of a I kind of like the solo idea of it, but the thing is, when you have your friends and you're able to share your experiences, and there's things that you might not remember that your friends will remember, and just to have somebody to share those experiences with over time, it kind of makes it a little better. I don't mind solo camping. I've actually tried to plan some solo camps, but hadn't really delved down into where, or you know, basically how I was gonna go about doing it, where I was gonna go, anything like that. I do plan on doing some solo camping in the future, and I'm gonna film that and everything, because I'm gonna be by myself, so it'll be a little bit easier to film. But anyways, I'd much rather have a couple friends go than just myself. But I don't mind being by myself. Sometimes you need that peace of mind. Number 3, my favorite knife. That is such a long and drawn out question. I don't think I could answer it in a paragraph. But I'm gonna try. So my most carried knife, I would have to say, is this one right here, the Open L number 7. I carry this knife everywhere. If it's not around my neck, it's in my pocket. I mean, I carry it everywhere. It's just a handy knife. But as far as, now that's everyday carry. I also carry a Leatherman Surge. That's my multi-tool. I carry that every day. I consider it a knife also. It has 2 knives on it, serrated and straight edge. But as far as my bushcrafting or camping goes or whatever, I always carry this knife. This right here is my go-to knife. If I use another knife, this knife still goes with me. I still carry this knife. This is the Blind Horse Knives Scout Platoon, or Platoon Scout, something like that, in that nature. It's the Dave Canterbury's got his his version of it, and they kind of just went from there and kept with the same thing. It's basically the Scout that Dave Canterbury likes so much or whatever. But anyways, I mean, the knife has such great weight to it, and it's, I mean, it's, to me, I don't use it as much, but I carry it with me every time. It's one of my favorite knives. It's my first most expensive knife that I bought, and I feel like if I spent the money on it, then it needs to go with me. Now, this knife right here is kind of grown on me. This is the LT Wright Bushcrafter, I believe is what it is. This knife right here, I mean, it's pretty much Blind Horse and LT. They were collabed at one time. So having a knife made by basically the same people, it you kind of fall in love with it. I love the broomstick style handle, and this knife right here is perfect for doing camp chores and everything. I use it probably 80% of the time if I don't need a big knife, and I don't know. It just kind of grew on me over the past year or so. I've only had it for that long, so but I just love the the blade style, and also I love the how the handle style is. But anyways, I've grown to love that knife. So number 4, where did I learn my bushcrafting skills? Well, I kind of fell into bushcrafting. I didn't really, it wasn't something that I learned right off the bat. I wasn't even familiar with the term until I started getting into survival techniques and survival training. And it kind of, I don't know, it's kind of, I didn't really get into the bushcrafty stuff until later on, but I'd say a lot of my bushcrafting skills I learned, through my friends at Georgia Bushcraft, and other influences like Dave Canterbury, and all of his instructors. I watch all his instructors and learn from his instructors, and I've had friends doing this stuff for many years since I've started learning all this stuff or whatever, and it's just kind of been a collaboration of everybody. So to those people who are watching this, I want to thank you for introducing me into the world of bushcraft. And let's see, number 5, favorite fire starting method. I'd have to say my favorite fire starting method when you talk about primitive skills would be the hand drill. I feel like the hand drill is it's kind of raw, it's kind of dirty. You got to get down in there, and you got to, you're just making a fire with a limited amount of resources, and you have to scavenge for those resources. And I don't know, I like the challenge. I really do. And it just, it kind of, I become one with that type of thing or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. It's like, Jedi for bushcraft, I guess. But if you really want to know, though, like if I go camping, and I'm out with my friends or whatever, I'm not trying to start fires like that or whatever. That's just my favorite or whatever. I normally use a big lighter, just to make it sweet and simple, so that way I can enjoy my time in the woods. But number 6, most essential piece of kit. My most essential piece of kit. I don't know exactly how to answer this, because it's kind of like, if I had to have it with me, that type of thing. But my most essential piece of kit, like if we're talking survival, I would say a container, because I'm not too skilled at making containers or whatever. It's just, one of those things that it takes a lot of time and energy, and I just don't have it. But let's see, if we're talking about camping, just regular camping, I'd have to say if I'm sleeping on the ground, my sleep pad, or if I'm sleeping in a, if I don't want to sleep on the ground, my hammock. Just because, you know, I like sleeping. So if I'm comfortable, then hey, you know, that's my favorite piece of equipment. Um, and also too, I have a couple of military style tents. Basically, I have a marine style tent, and I just kind of fell in love with that. I have a 1 person and a 2 person tent. Those tents are like, I won't let anybody borrow them. Like, nobody. I don't care who you are, you're not borrowing my tent. You can borrow the cheap Walmart tent that I bought, but you're not borrowing those. I've been really big on Army surplus stuff, and those tents, I really like those tents. If anybody wants to see one, I can set them up and do a review on them or whatever, but there's plenty of reviews on YouTube already. Number 7, do I carry a bug out bag in my vehicle? No, I do not. I used to, um, pretty much because I carry all my camping gear in my truck or whatever. I don't really have a specific bag that I, you know, if something happened and I had to leave my vehicle, you know, this, that, and other or whatever, I don't really carry one. And, you know, I want to put one together, but a lot of my stuff is military surplus, and I don't know, I just feel like with that stuff, it kind of puts a target on you. So I'm trying to like figure out, you know, how to become the gray man. You know, everybody likes to use that term, the gray man. Um, but I don't know. I feel like, you know, I feel like if I go on a long trip, then yeah, I'll probably pack something similar to a go bag. That way, you know, I can I can utilize it if I'm far away from home. Most of the time though, I'm only like 30 minutes from the house. I can pretty much make it, you know, from anywhere with the stuff that I carry in my truck. So do I carry a boat bag? No. Do I have equipment in my truck? Yes. So number 8, do I prefer an alcohol, wood, or gas stove? I prefer the gas, to be honest with you, because with alcohol you have to carry the alcohol with you. With the wood stove, if it's raining and everything's wet or whatever, you have to find dry wood. It's aggravating. At least with the gas stove, it's light. I mean, the gas stove is really light, and the gas canister has its own stopper, so that way whenever you take them apart or whatever, it can't leak out. I mean, it possibly can, but 9 times out of 10 it hadn't. And I've used my gas stove over the years several times going camping, and I mean, you know, I've used the same canister for like 2 years straight. Like, I only, you know, I really only make like coffee and stuff like that. I mean, with it, you know, I've cooked like, you know, canned stuff or whatever, but I really prefer the gas stove. It's fast, it's easy, and it's really light. Well, guys, that's my 8 bushcraft related questions. The challenge that was presented me by Bill Reese over at Instinct Survivalist. Thanks, Bill. That was an awesome idea, because I kind of been, you know, slacking on my videos. I've just been so caught up with work and, you know, working around the house and everything. I really haven't had time to put a video together, and I've got one that I'm still editing, and I still hadn't published it on YouTube. So thanks for that, Bill. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions or whatever, if you are curious about anything that I do, or you know, what I use, and like as far as equipment and goes and everything, just shoot me a message, and I'll try to make a video. But anyways, this is Dave Wiz with Black Coyote Outdoors, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.